It seems that a certain clown has decided to make a follow-up to the video that I made making fun of him. So we're going to make fun of him once again because he is giving us free content, and that's great.
Many of you didn't like the video about the objective consensus regarding Rezero.
What could have possibly happened that many people disagreed with what you said in that video? Could it be that you're wrong? No, that's impossible. You're never wrong. Everyone else is wrong. They got it all wrong and you got it all right. Because you cherry-picked some reviews, you misrepresented them, and you tried to make mal reviews an objective consensus about the status of the quality of a series. You're a total clown. That's why people disagree with you.
Oh, the opinions of 10 people can't be enough to have the full picture.
Of course not! Did he realize this just now? Also, you're using mal. The amount of people that participate in that website in the first place isn't even a 10% of the viewer base of the anime. What are you even trying to get at? You're using mal, which is full of incredibly pretentious critics and also full of people who review vamp animes that they dislike and are not as highly rated as the ones they like. The website is incredibly biased and most of the critiques are total trash, so you shouldn't be using it in the first place, nor you should be using reviews, since not even 5% of the people who watch the anime review it in the first place. So you're only getting the opinion of less than 10% of the people who watched it in the first place, taking into consideration that you're also using mal for this. But that's not the only problem here. You also completely misrepresented each and every single one of the reviews that you wrote up. The positive reviews were all wrong, and the negative reviews that didn't justify a thing about what they said are all right. What a coincidence here. Let's just admit it, you just have a bias against the anime, and not only against this anime, you have a grudge against anything that is remotely popular. Your entire career consists on being butthurt about popular animes and constantly ranting about every single one of them, because the entirety of your viewer base is composed of an army of neckbeards who have resentment about things that occur in their life and have to lash out on fictional pieces of media to vent out. You don't represent anyone. Those reviews don't represent anyone. And also, something that is very important, opinion and objective don't go in the same sentence.
So here are 10 more people to give you even more objective facts.
I get that you have to use this edgy act to attract all of these neckbeards to your channel, but you're not saying anything remotely objective. You're just spouting opinions of other people on your channel. That's not objective, and those reviews and those opinions are from mal. Who are you expecting to take you seriously?
I am sure you will all agree after this one. First negative review. The lollies have taken over the show. Rezero is now for pedophiles.
Are all of these haters manufactured in the first place? Do they all come from the exact same trash bin? Because their criticisms are a copy-paste of things that other people have said that are completely incorrect. He didn't even watch the series if he's saying that it is played with lowlies. Seriously, are all of these people brain dead? Do they have some form of mental illness? Because the lack of logical and reasoning capabilities from these people are telling me that they are on subhuman level. They are trash and they are pathetic. I mean, I had some people tell me that literal teenagers like, I don't know, Petra or Feld are lowlies. They are literally teenagers. They are meant to be looking young. The only 3 or 4 people that can classify into that category of lowlies could be Beatrice, but she isn't even a romantic interest, and if you think that, you are the pedophile and stop trying to project your weird fetishes onto the series, and maybe Mimi and also Pandora and Liliana, but those are 4 characters out of a cast that has more than 40 characters. Imagine all of these people watching the series with a bandage on their eyes because there's no other possible explanation for them repeating the same stupidities over and over again. This is getting tiresome, really.
He's not the first who said it, therefore we have consensus.
There is more than one person saying that the Earth is flat. Is it therefore a consensus? Are you stupid? Really, I cannot even begin to understand why you're being as dense as a black hole. You're incredibly stupid.
First positive. People hated the protagonist during the first season, they only love him now.
Sorry, who is people here? because I don't feel included at all in that group, and many people who watch the Rezero don't feel included in that group. But he's trying to make a point about haters, not about people who watched it and later regretted that hate they had towards the protagonist. Those are not the people that he's referring to. He's referring to the haters of the series that constantly say, oh, Summer is annoying, he's a bad main character. That's the entire point! He has to be annoying, because he's a hikikomori who never left his home in his original world. So he is going to be a social inept, and he's going to be doing weird stuff, and he's going to be annoying. And he's complaining precisely because people didn't see that it was the entire point, because he progressed and became a better character. And you're completely misrepresenting that.
This is not true. Everyone loved him because he was a NEET who was suffering just like them.
Maybe I cannot comprehend the humor here, but that was an absolute and total strawman of what people like in Rezero. But if he hadn't noticed it and he's saying that seriously, please, you don't know even a 5th percentile of the people that watched the series. Who is them? Who is they? Who are you referring to? You are not the majority, and the people you are talking about is not the majority. You are not even citing them. You have no evidence. You will never have evidence for that, because that's a generalization fallacy. And it is founded on your resentment towards the series and the people who watch it in the first place. And that's very obvious, because you wouldn't be saying these obvious and blatant strawmans and mockeries if you were trying to seriously analyze the series in the first place. You're being completely dishonest, and then you complain about people calling you out for that.
This reviewer is lying.
Are you stupid? Do you spit to airplanes thinking that your spit is going to reach them? Because you are completely oligophrenic to this point, and that means that you are dumb if you don't get what the word itself means. Brother, he's saying his opinion. How can he be lying? Are you stupid? What point is there in talking about lies when you're talking about an opinion? Something subjective. You're a complete moron. There's no other way to describe you.
The first episode being 90 minutes long was a great idea because it gave you a lot of exposition. More lying. People liked it because Subaru was surrounded by his lolly harem.
Brother, what is this weak-ass attempt at trying to imitate what Young Defiant does? You're not going to get anywhere with this rage bait. You're only going to get more hate, and you're not going to be getting a stable viewer base because everyone is going to hate you. They are only going to follow you because you hate some things in particular that they also hate, but they won't ever feel represented with you. You're stupid, and your rage bait hasn't got any purpose really. You're just ruining your entire channel by doing that. He said that he was going to be objective, but he's spouting these lazy ass criticisms. This is crazy. He isn't even trying anymore. He's just saying, oh, you're a bunch of pedophiles. You're like the 2 lowlies that appear in the 3rd season or something like that have less than 10% of the screen time of the entire season. Well, that was bad.
It was otherwise nothing but talking and talking, which bored everyone.
Brother, who is everyone? I will ask you this until you actually respond to me, because you are not specifying who are you talking about, because you are not representing anyone with your opinions. Get your Lizzo looking ass out of here and stop doing this shit, please. Still with the misrepresentation of show don't tell. Show don't tell doesn't mean only show and don't tell. You can do 2 things at the same time. That's why you got great scenes in Rezero that help the dialogue that you have in the first place, because Rezero is heavy in dialogue, because it is a story centered in the characters, not in the plot, so you're going to have a lot of exposition. And if you don't like it, that's your problem, not the problem of the series.
The reviewer is also saying he liked it because he got several episodes at once, which is the typical mentality of consume product and be excited for more product.
God forbid someone likes getting multiple episodes of a series they like because they are being stupid consumers who mustn't, I don't know, consume the things they like. Should they be consuming shit then?
Therefore, those who like the show for this reason are not part of the consensus.
Wow, how convenient. Every single person that disagrees with you is out of the consensus. That's great, because you're absolutely wrong about every single thing you said. me get this straight. You have a preformed dogma about what people like in Rezero, and if you see something that contradicts it, then that's not part of the consensus. That's the literal definition of confirmation bias, my friends. And you have a lot of that, Snob, because you're a butthurt anime reviewer. And you literally live by reviewing anime, and you cannot even do your only job properly. You are a disappointment to your entire lineage.
Second negative, it's nothing but talking and talking which bored everyone.
But you're not making any points. You can say that about anything that you dislike. Just slap some one-dimensional characters, boring dialogue, and also edgy. And then you have your criticism, your lazy-ass criticism that has no justification nor explanation behind it. You're not saying anything critical about the series. You can say that about anything you dislike, even if you haven't watched it first. You're not telling me why it's boring, you're not telling me why it's bad, you're not telling me why having a lot of dialogue in the first place is bad. You're just saying that's bad. And there's no point in making those criticisms if you cannot even explain them.
He's not the first who said it, you'll see that everyone said this.
There's also multiple people saying that if you box your kids, you are going to make them autistic and they are going to get some form of cancer, or I don't know. And do you think that just because many people are repeating that, that becomes absolutely true? You're incredibly stupid. You're brain dead. Your last two brain cells are fighting to determine which of them is more useless.
Therefore we have consensus.
People agreeing with you is not equal to consensus. You absolute brain dead amoeba.
Second positive, he hates the main character because he constantly yells and suffers. That is a lie, since the main appeal of the story is Subaru yelling and suffering.
I want to think of more insults to use here, but I have run out of them. There's no way to describe your stupidity without running out of words. Really, I am being completely dead serious. A walking straw man, no, please. People don't like it just because he suffers. Please take the actual majority and form a valid point. You're not even trying to make a point now. You're just saying, oh, the majority likes it because of these reasons that I have just invented to comply with my dogma. You are incredibly stupid. You're not even trying right now. I, personally, because I know to talk only about me when I'm going to give an opinion and not to talk about the majority of the people when I'm just giving my opinion, unlike you do, mainly because of the psychological depth of the series. And I'm going to explain my point. Return by Death is a great narrative tool because it forces Subaru to undergo obstacles that are almost impossible to fix. And Tappei can do this because Subaru has the ability to try again if his soul hasn't been destroyed, and if his authority hasn't been compromised, nor his mental stage has been compromised, then he can try again. And that's the best thing about Rezero, because he can face impossible obstacles that without Return by Death couldn't happen in the series. If he didn't have Return by Death, the series would have ended in the first episode. That's why it is important, because it makes the entire skeleton of the narrative, and it's a great tool and has tension, like you say, because there's a lot of methods to outplay Return by Death. The thing is that haters like you don't even try to think about methods with which you can outplay his ability. And tension doesn't arise only from permanent consequences. Most consequences in life can be outdone. You got a bad grade, you can outdo that. You got robbed, you can outdo that because money isn't lost permanently. You lost money gambling, you can outdo that. You got hit by someone and you got injured. If the injury is not very or incredibly bad, you can outdo that. Most consequences that people will face in their life can be reversed. And yet many people, despite losing things that they can get back later, like money or grades in their school or their college, still care about that and don't want to lose them. Which is the basis of tension, the fact that you can lose something, not the fact that you cannot get it back.
Therefore, those who like the show for this reason are not part of the consensus.
Again, oh my god, every single person who disagrees with me is not part of the consensus. He's a total prick. There's no discussion to be had in the first place because he isn't raising any relevant points.
Third negative, the show became boring and nothing more than very long monologues, waifus, and nonsensical fights.
Why are fights nonsensical? You're not making any point. Why is every single female character of this show that you dislike instantly called a waifu or a loli just because you cannot bother analyzing the character in the first place and you can only project your own weird fetishes on the series that you're trying to criticize? Why are you doing this? You're not even trying. You're not even making a single point about why the dialogue is bad. You're just saying it sucks. You're just saying the characters suck. You're just saying the show sucks. You're not saying anything meaningful that could classify as a valid criticism. That's called ranting, and that's not a critique, because just saying dialogue boring, female character bait, that's not a valid criticism, because I can say that for any show that I dislike, and I don't have to explain it, because I just plug it in like a lazy label, and that's it.
As you see, once again, he's not the first one who said it.
Because every single Rezero hater copy-pastes the same critiques. There hasn't been any progress in the attempts of trying to destroy Rezero for having a place among good anime, because it is a good anime. There hasn't been a single honest negative review that just said, okay, well, I dislike this because of these reasons. I can give you specific things of the show, I can give you even timestamps of episodes or even extracts of the dialogue that point out to the issues that I have with the series, and I respect people who like it, even though I don't like it. There's no one who has done that up to date.
Therefore, we have consensus.
People repeat stupid stuff, automatically snuff. Well, that's objective consensus. You're incredibly stupid. Get out.
Third positive, the MC does not overshadow everyone. He doesn't fix problems alone and easily gets everything he needs.
No, there's no way he just said he easily gets anything he needs. No, this man is severely brain dead. There's no other possible explanation. Snow, you're severely brain dead. Thus, dying over and over again, losing your entire self-esteem, and being completely isolated. Classify as getting anything he needs easily? Are you stupid? Brother had to literally defeat two of the biggest threats for people living in Lugunica, which are the two great mavists, the great rabbit and the white whale, just to save people, which means that he expended all of those efforts just to maintain what he already had. Are you fucking stupid? In order to become Emilia's knight, he had to be eaten by rabbits to death, and also he had to defeat a man who was able to predict the future with his gospel. And not only that, he had to reorganize the entire city of Bristella's army and the people that was there in order to be able to defeat the archbishops. He had to take care of an entire city, and you're saying that he got his things and his rewards easily. There's not even a word to describe how stupid you are.
Despite this often being used in favor of the show, it's nothing but lies, since he does overshadow everyone. Nobody cares about the minor character.
Who is nobody? The entire second half of the second season was focused on other characters that weren't Subaru, Emilia, Garfield and Otto, and you also had Roswell, and you also have Ram, and you also have Biako, and you had many more characters that were focused on during that part of the season. Even Frederica, even Elsa, even Meili, you have a lot of characters to care about. If you don't care about them, that's good. You don't represent anyone. That's something that I want to make clear, because you think that your opinion is the opinion of the majority, and even worse, an objective fact. You're a stupid neckbird in his mother's basement, and you really think that your opinion is a fact. That's crazy.
And there is a ton of them by now. Also, he is the one who fixes every problem, since he is the only one who can retry infinite times.
Snow, if I give infinite retries to a cockroach, can it defeat an elephant? No. It will need help. So his ability is not the thing that makes him overcome those obstacles. It's just the thing that possibilitates overcoming the obstacles. You have to differentiate between a tool, which is something that gets you closer to your goal, and something that possibilitates you achieving that goal. All of that merit is both to Subaru and the people who helped him, not to his ability, because it only allowed him to retry. It didn't fix his problems. That's why Return by Death is of the second kind. And also, you are completely forgetting the fact that every single time he dies, he leaves people behind to mourn. And that's something that we learned that is not good in the last season. If you have even watched it before making this video, you stupid illiterate motherfucker, you have to understand that Return by Death is not a tool here. He isn't supposed to be using it to save people. If he wants to save people, he should be included among that list. That's something that Satella said to him. And also, there are no infinite retries. Please, die 1000 times like Subaru did in some of the if routes, and then tell me that you are completely mentally stable and that you can overcome your obstacles without deviating from your goal like he did. If he spams Return by Death, there's no coming back. He will stop being an actual human being with emotions and he will just be a monster. And furthermore, those goals that he had before will be completely abandoned. So, no infinite retries. And there are lots of methods to outplay Return by Death.
Until he can do something right. Nobody else can do that.
The fact that nobody else has that ability doesn't mean that it cannot be outplayed. Because there are a lot of characters that have outplayed it in the past, like Roswell, who almost forces Subaru to take Echidna's contract. So it can be outplayed, and it's not a free solution to anything in the show. Return by Death only possibilitates. But not even that, because losing Rem, who won't be getting her memories anytime soon, at least up to Arc 9 that hasn't happened, was a permanent consequence, and it almost causes another permanent consequence while Subaru was trying to get her memories back. Those who have watched things related to Arc 6 or have read it probably know what I am talking about. But it's just that notion about Return by Death being a freeway solution to anything, and that it basically allows Subaru to infinitely retry things, is completely debunked.
He's the only one who keeps changing things around until he gets what he wants.
No, he isn't changing things around until he gets what he wants. Because changing things around implies dying, and that implies leaving people alone to mourn. And that's something that we learned is not good. And also the masochism of letting himself die or killing himself is not something that Subaru should strive for. And he already learned that. If anything, the only times that he has died during Season 3 were because he was being reckless, not because he thought about his life as something that he could use as a tool. Never again. Matter of fact, the novel emphasizes when he dies the first time in Season 3 that he felt sick because he made a promise about not using his ability ever again. That's why he didn't use it for an entire year. So it is important to clarify that he isn't spamming his ability to get things that he wants, and he ain't changing things like he's God, because no matter how many tries you give a cockroach to solve a problem, if the problem becomes defeating an elephant, it won't be able to do a thing. That's why he needs the help of other people, and if there's no one around, or if something happens to his authority, like it happened in the novels, then he's screwed. No matter how many tries he has.
Even if that means asking others for help, it doesn't change the fact that it's he using a super broken power.
But brother, does he really think that Return by Death is a super broken power? If I give you, I don't know, super strength in exchange for torturing you for 10 days, are you getting a super broken power? Are you actually making the cost-benefit analysis? Because the things that Return by Death is giving Subaru are much less than the things that it is taking away from him. If he hadn't arrived at that world in the first place, he would have lived a normal life in his original world. Tappei said it himself. He said that he would stop being a hikikomori and he would grow up. If anything, Return by Death took everything out of him and didn't give enough to compensate for that loss. So you cannot say that it is broken, because it is far from being broken.
That overshadows everyone else, finding the solution and getting what he wants on what is in effect the first try.
Do you see why there's no point in talking with these people? If Subaru spams his ability to get what he wants, which is something wrong, he will criticize the series for him having an ability to solve any problem that he encounters in the present. But if he is taken that ability away from him, or if he decides to not use that ability, then it becomes he solved everything on his first try. Do you realize that there's no way to satisfy this man right here? He's making this on purpose because he hates the series, and he's a butthurt hater. That's his exact description. Again, having an OP ability, which Return by Death isn't, doesn't make him overshadow every single character. Just because he has that ability doesn't mean the other characters don't matter. That's why they expend a lot of screen time regarding the secondary cast, and people do care about it. You don't care because you don't like the series. Furthermore, you are saying that Subaru solved everything on his first try, like it was easy, even though it isn't his first try, it is his third try in the case of the third season. It wasn't easy at all. At all. He had to lose a fucking limb and also had to almost watch every citizen in Pristella die because of the Demi-Beast. And he also had to watch people being transformed into flies because of Capella's ability and other forms of things that are completely horrendous. And he shouldn't have gone through if the problem would have been easily solved. Motherfucker, he lost Emilia to Regulus, one of the most OP characters in the entire verse. So things didn't go smooth, and they won't go smooth in the attack arc, because Regulus is incredibly OP, and some other archbishops also are, but things are not going easily. Just because he isn't dying again doesn't mean that all of his victories are being handed to him without him having any form of merit because of that.
Since any attempt that fails does not matter and nobody remembers it happened.
Yeah, because the main character remembering that he lost the ones he loved and he left them behind isn't important at all, even though he's the one that is using the ability in the first place. You're incredibly stupid.
We follow the one where he succeeds on his first try. Once again, you cannot trust the ones who like the show because they are constantly lying about it.
Not dying again doesn't mean fixing things on his first try, you utter buffoon. Just because he hasn't died again doesn't mean he's solving everything on his first try. The whole city flooded. An archbishop, which is the last one, and the other archbishop, which is the wrath one, which are Capella and Sirius, killed a lot of people that he isn't getting back. The whole city of Priscilla is destroyed. He didn't have Reinhardt for a moment and they almost obliterated them, and also they almost killed Mimi and the entire siblings party because of their protection, which makes them sure damage, but that's aside from the point. Well, he didn't fix anything in his first try. That's completely wrong. Just because he hasn't died yet doesn't mean that he fixed everything on his first try. It's if you were going to be making that argument, then you have to say that in every single story characters are fixing their problems in the first try, so they don't have any merit. You know who solved their problems on the first try? Exactly, the characters from Legend of the Galactomyth Heroes that you praise despite the fact that it has the same mistakes that you point out in other animes. That's incredible. But let's also take a look at his blatant confirmation bias. You cannot trust people who like the series because they will contradict what I say. And if they contradict what I say, what I think, they're going against the consensus. Because the consensus is my opinion. That's what Snob thinks, right? So you're wrong. And if you like it, you're a moron. That's basically what Snob thinks. He obviously doesn't have any bias against the show at all. He's being completely objective. And he's talking about the consensus despite the fact that he's inventing half things and that he's using pretentious reviewers and reviews to try to make and draw a clear consensus about the series, despite the fact that only a minority even interacts there.
With that said, this is one of the most repeated lies and it has become a consensus. Fourth negative, the talking is boring, the characters are shallow, and it's made for degenerate.
There's no way that he's going to say that this criticism is valid. It's the most superficial and shallowest criticism possible that you can make for any series that you want to criticize. You're not saying anything apart from it's bad because it's bad. Because you're saying the dialogues suck, the characters suck, they are shallow. You're not making any argument or point about why it's bad. You are just repeating it is bad with other words. You're not explaining me why that's bad. Why do you think the characters are bad? Why do you think the characters are shallow? Why do you think that's boring? Why do you think that saying that it is boring is a valid critique even though you are expressing your feelings and not things related to the objective quality of the series that you're trying to criticize? There are a lot of problems with reviews like this, and that's why I told you that you shouldn't be using mal in the first place, to try to draw any objective consensus about Rezero. Furthermore, you are saying that every person who likes Rezero lies. And that's incredible, because you're exposing your bias and your blatant bias against the series in front of everyone. Do you honestly think that anyone is going to take you seriously when you say these things?
He is far from the first who said it, therefore we have consensus.
Ain't no way the most generic, garbage and superficial reviews classify as consensus, especially coming from my anime list. You are incredibly stupid, my guy. He will probably cry out consensus when 3 weirdos come around and say to him that they saw UFOs, and just because of 3 random people said it, he will call it consensus. That's how stupid he is.
Fourth positive. I like it because it's good, and it's good because I like it. Yet another vlogger who talks about his feels and says nothing about the actual show.
Brother, buy yourself a mirror, please! The things that you're criticizing here also occurred in the negative reviews that you praised. They just said it's bad because it's bad without explaining anything and just using other words to refer to something having bad quality, and instead of talking about the actual show, they just talked about their emotions. This is boring, this is shallow, those are emotions, you are not telling me anything about the show itself. And you are not criticizing that. There's no possible way in hell that you are not doing this on purpose. You are being genuinely disingenuous.
There is nothing here that can be part of a consensus, since nothing is about Rezero. Fifth negative.
In no way this level of projection can be achieved by an actual human being. Brother, every single thing that you say about the positive reviews applies to the negative reviews that you were praising just moments ago. You are this close to getting it, but your bias won't allow you to do it, because you are butthurt.
He used to like Subaru during the first season, but by now he realized he's nothing but a shonen protagonist written by a Coomer.
Remember guys, you shouldn't say that something is good because it's good, but you're completely allowed to say that it's bad because it's bad. Subaru is a shonen protagonist. Why? I don't know, because I say so, and well, I dislike the series, so I have to say something. Shut up! You don't say things that you aren't going to be explaining. In the review, he just spouted labels, boring, shonen protagonist, waifus. You are not explaining why something is bad by using labels. You are just escaping the responsibility of doing that. And the craziest part is that, if I remember well, Snob said some moments ago, you shouldn't use your feelings to be talking about the show. But, well, it seems that when people call the author of the show Coomer, that's okay, because they are using their feelings to criticize the series. So, well, when it's convenient, feelings are valid. That's what Snob thinks. You have to deal with that. You have to deal with this neckbird thinking that opinions of randoms on internet classify as objective facts.
Everyone is one-dimensional. They keep introducing lowlies and degenerates.
Why are the characters one-dimensional? What definition do you have of one-dimensionality for characters? What extracts from the show can you use to justify that? Why are you talking about the introduction of several lowlies when only one was introduced in this third season of Rezero? Why would the fact that there are lowlies in the series in the first place introduce any kind of problem in the quality of the narrative? Because being a lowly doesn't determine the quality of the character. Why, instead of actually engaging with the characters and analyzing whether they are just degenerates or not, do you just slap that degenerate label onto them without even explaining what is wrong about those characters being morally despicable? Because we have already explained that their twisted moral values have depth. They aren't just bad because they are bad, and that isn't even a problem, because villains being bad, just because they are bad, being pure evil, isn't a bad thing in narratives. You can pull that out. But in the case of Rezero, we don't have just villains that are bad because they are bad. Look at Beetlejuice, look at Regulus if you watch what happened in his past. Look at Capella, look at Sirius. You have a lot of examples of those characters that have internal motivations and moral values that are not just surface level. Brother, get out with these lazy criticisms.
The plot keeps slowing down with more and more dialogue. It became nothing but the author as a sexual fantasies.
Again, the same exact issues. Look at what he's saying. He's saying the pace is slow, or that the dialogue is slowing the pace. Now, are you explaining why you think that's the case? No, you're just saying the dialogue is boring and I think that it is slow. Is that a valid criticism? No, you are not explaining anything about it. Why is it slow? Why are dialogues bad? Why do you think that the show having a slower pacing is bad? Why do you reduce every single female character to just waifu bait? I know that you're a pervert and the only thing that you are thinking about when you watch anime is about anime titties, but don't project that onto people that are watching the anime, because they don't care about your reasons for watching it, and they aren't degenerates like you.
And lost everything that he liked about it at first. This is what everybody says, he's not the first who said it, therefore we have consensus.
Well, it seems that Snob is suddenly being in favor of trans people's rights and gay people's rights, and in favor of their transition in the case of being a trans woman or trans man, because he's saying that many people are saying that it's right, so well, it must be right since that's what the consensus implies. So thanks for at least admitting that all your insults towards people who are trans and gay were all just mockery without any true intent of hatred behind them. Well, this is another case of a snob shooting himself on the foot, but this is normal for these kind of people, so you will see him doing that multiple times.
And finally, the fifth positive, which doesn't read you anything. It's clearly a bot that simply summarizes the premise and has absolutely no opinion about the anime.
Which is really funny that he's saying that, because some of the reviews, the negative reviews that were posted about Rezero, were written by literal AI. Why are you criticizing that, but you are criticizing someone sounding like a bot? And funnily enough, even though that review sounds like it was written by a bot, it actually explains things about the series, unlike the negative reviews that you brought up. First, it talks about Subaru's relationship with Emilia. Then it talks about the secondary characters getting more development, as like Reinhardt and Anastasia, like Wilhelm, like Garfield. Many characters get a lot of development, and if you skim through that, you are just not paying attention to the show. He also talks about the stakes, and also talks about his impression, which is that it promises an emotional roller coaster ride set in an unfamiliar territory. And he's already 3 episodes in, so he has watched it. It's not just a bot who is repeating things that others have said. So this positive review is far superior to the negative ones that you have to offer. That's serious, because this review isn't even that deep. That is telling you a lot about the quality of the things that you picked up. You cherry-picked things that completely destroyed your point. That's the issue here.
It doesn't even talk about the anime, since it said it's a manhwa, not a light novel or an anime.
He's right in the fact that he got that wrong, because Rezero doesn't have a manhwa. But he's talking about the anime far more than the people who criticized it by just saying it is bad because it is bad. So that's pretty telling.
This is all fake and completely out of touch of reality. No consensus whatsoever.
Guys, if you disagree with my opinion on anime, you are absolute degenerates and you are all lying here. And you are complete— Shut up, brother! Shut up! No one cares about your opinion. No one cares about your opinion. And your opinion doesn't classify as consensus. You are making yourself look like a clown here, Snuff. You are not achieving anything. You are not criticizing the show. You are making fun of yourself.
And there you have it. Now everyone can agree on what Rezero actually is, since it's not me who said it.
Of course, you total dumbfuck. It was your alter ego, the one who said it. No, just kidding. But this guy is completely out of touch with reality. You cherry-picked all of those reviews. And that wasn't consensus, considering it came from Mal, a minority of the people who watched the series, even reviews it there. So, you didn't arrive at anything. And you just made me make fun of the people who wrote that shit and make fun of you like the clown that you are.
It's all of you, for the second time. It is now clear as day that Rezero is complete trash, and if you like it, you are a degenerate who likes boring shows.
There you have it, folks. The master neckbeard whose entire career consists on crashing out on fictional pieces of media and is over 30 years of age and still keeps making these childish videos and rants, is telling you that the series is bad and that you are degenerate.
Hey, Mom, come see, this guy here, he killed himself because he watches more than anime. Yeah, the same community I'm part of, Mom. You're not very proud, are you? But who cares, I'm normal!
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Well, this was nothing more than a childish rant. We didn't have much to address, but we do have a conclusion. Snob sucks as a critic, and anyone who agrees with him also sucks. We are just people who are resentful about their lives and they have to crash out on fictional pieces of media. More specifically, anime. Chinese cartoons.